All right, today we're cracking open a really fascinating patent from Ford. It gives us a peek under the hood at the cold, hard logic a self-driving car uses to save itself and you when something suddenly goes wrong. So picture this. You're just cruising down the highway, totally hands-free, and then an alarm goes off. The car has detected a critical failure. It has just seconds to make a decision. So what's really going on inside its computer brain?
To the car, the world looks kind of like this, a map of potential safe spots and all the hazards in between. This is the game board, and its computer is about to make a move. But it's not just winging it. It's following a very, very specific set of rules.
Okay, so where does this all start? Well, the whole process kicks off the second the car detects what the patent calls an anomalous condition. And that is the trigger for the entire safety system.
So what's an anomalous condition? It's basically a catch-all term for, well, anything that goes wrong. It could be a physical problem, like a main battery failure, or it could be a human one, like the system asks you to take the wheel and you don't. In any of those cases, the car basically concludes, okay, I'm on my own now. I have to act.
Now, once the car realizes something's up, it doesn't panic. It doesn't just start improvising. Nope. Instead, it pulls out a pre-written playbook of its possible escape routes.
And this right here really shows you the core idea. The car has this list of what the patent calls minimal risk maneuvers, or MRMs for short. Seriously, think of it just like a pilot's emergency checklist. These are the only moves the car is even allowed to think about.
So what's on this menu of options? Well, you've got a whole range of pre-planned moves. Some are pretty simple, right? Like just stopping gradually in your lane. Others are more complex, like changing lanes to pull all the way over to the shoulder. The whole point here is to have a set, predictable response, instead of trying to make something up in a crisis. This list gives the car all the building blocks it needs.
Okay, so the car has its list of moves, but how in the world does it decide which one is the best? Well, it all boils down to one thing: scoring the risk.
Yep, every single one of those options on the menu is constantly being graded with something called an expected risk score. And this isn't some vague guess. It's a hard number, a calculated value based on stuff like the probability of an accident and how bad that accident could be for each and every move.
The patent actually breaks this down into a super clear hierarchy. Take a look. QM is the best of the best, the lowest risk. That's for proceeding to a designated safe spot. Then you have A, which is pulling onto the shoulder, still really low risk. But then you get down to C. That's something like slamming on the brakes in traffic. It's a high-risk move for sure. But sometimes it might be the only option you've got.
And here's the really crucial part. This isn't happening after something goes wrong. The car's computer has already ranked all these options. It's maintaining a constant, real-time priority list of what it would do in a crisis, from the absolute best-case scenario all the way down to the last resort.
Okay, let's recap. The car has a problem. It has its menu of pre-planned moves, and it has already ranked them all by risk. Now comes the moment of truth. Making the decision. So let's walk through the actual logic.
This flowchart you're seeing, this is straight from the patent, and it's basically the car's brain laid out on paper. I know it looks super complex, but it really just boils down to a very clear step-by-step process for picking the best possible move when it's under pressure.
In fact, we can simplify that whole thing down to 4 basic steps. First, it scans the map, looking for hazards and safe spots. Second, it ranks its options, sorting all those maneuvers by their risk score. Third, and this is the big one, it assesses the urgency by figuring out its distance limit. Basically, how far can it safely go? And finally, step 4, it executes the maneuver. It performs the absolute safest move that it can actually reach.
Okay, that third step I just mentioned, it introduces probably the most critical variable in this whole equation, the distance limit. You can think of it as the car's safety countdown timer. But for distance. It's the maximum range the car can travel before the problem becomes catastrophic. And this limit, it changes dramatically depending on what exactly went wrong.
Let's look at a couple of examples straight from the patent to see how this plays out. Okay, scenario A. The main battery fails. The car knows its range is tiny, maybe only 400 meters. Suddenly its options are super limited, so it's probably going to pick the safest thing it can reach right now, like pulling over to the shoulder. But now, scenario B, it's just a minor sensor cleaning issue. The car is actually fine to drive for a bit, so the distance limit might be, say, 10 kilometers. Well, now it has plenty of time to go for the gold standard, the absolute safest maneuver, proceeding all the way to a designated safe location.
So what the system is really doing is taking its abstract checklist of moves and it's laying it over the real-world map.
And then it's filtering everything through that distance limit that's set by the specific problem. It's connecting the what to do with the where can I do it.
So let's put all the pieces together. What we're looking at here isn't some kind of creative thinking AI. It's something much more direct, much more predictable. It's a system of pure, programmed logic.
I mean, check out this quote directly from the patent's abstract. It sums it up perfectly. The computer will select the minimal risk maneuver ranked best for which the respective distances are below the distance limit. It's that simple, and it's that rigid, no wiggle room.
So the big takeaway here is that there is absolutely zero guesswork involved. The car isn't deciding the way a person does. It is executing a very simple command. Find the option with the best safety score that is also physically possible to reach. That's it. That is the entire thought process.
And that brings us to the big question that this kind of technology forces all of us to ask. In a moment of pure crisis, when a life or death decision has to be made in a split second, what do you trust more? The cold, unfeeling, but perfectly calculated logic of a machine, or the panic, the creativity, and the instinct of a human driver?
If you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe.